have to put those crisps away, Cody.
Huh?
You have to
Hang on,
put
guys.
those crisps away.
There you go. We're live, fellas. Welcome, everybody. We're starting off a Monday here. We've got our core team assembled. Ole, Cody, how you guys doing today?
Doing fantastic and absolutely exhausted.
Cody, how you?
Oh, we're doing good. We've been dealing with all these fires in Colorado and stuff.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking about that. There's a lot to cover today. Now, Ole, you're in Sweden, and you were there last week, so we're going to use today's show on Patreon and Subscribestar to talk about 9/11. I know both of you have got a ton of insight on that, and people still have a lot of questions, and I don't think we need to limit our remembrance and exploration of this event to the actual day, so that'll be interesting. But before we get into that, Ole, would you like to start by telling us about what's going on in Sweden, or should we start with the fires in Colorado?
I would love to start with Sweden because, oh my God. Do you know, my personality has this effect on different countries and locations to shut me down. And I show my face and boom, we're shut down. So I was invited to this incredible conference called Wake Up Conference in Sweden. And
Is that Wake Up Globe with Michael?
Yep.
Ah.
It's Wake Up Globe, but they made Wake Up Friends for these great networks of friends and small groups all over the place. And then they had this Wake Up conference, and it's like so I can't, because I have this effect. We knew it, so the only real concern was to get shut down. And especially since in Sweden, you're only allowed to meet 50 at a time in Sweden during these Corona times. And this place we were going to could take an audience of 400, and it was sold out. And the people that arranged it said that they could easily have sold 1,000 tickets. Compare that to when I started some years ago, there were 8 people when I arrived.
Wow.
You know, So... And I had to bring my own PA system, and and a donation canned. Can anyone please get me a train ticket? So it was amazing. Anyway, I came there, and in Sweden you follow laws. That is it. And so for 400 people to turn up, even though they knew they were not allowed to come, oh my God. I was like in heaven. I thought, this is amazing. And I'm always standing outside, shaking hands with every single one, inviting them in, also people from the intelligence or whatever, if they're there, because they need this type of information more than anyone.
What's it called in Sweden, the secret police?
Säpo.
Säpo.
Yeah, that's the security police, Säkerhetspolisen. And we're old buddies, I recognize some of them. They stick out like a sore thumb. And anyway, so I was standing outside, and there was this endless queue. I tell you, I kid you not, it was like the yellow brick road. There were hundreds and hundreds of people standing in a long line waiting to get in. I shook hands. I got so many hugs. I'm over-hugged or out-hugged at the moment. And the feeling there was just amazing. It was, the whole thing was like a religious event almost, people were sparkling. And like I was the head speaker or key speaker, whatever you want to call it. I did a 2.5 hour interview, standing ovations, everybody. I mean, it was absolutely mind-blowing, I tell you. The beauty of this event, I don't think I ever experienced anything like it. And Kim was there as well, and people are going, I mean, she's always preferred to be anonymous. Yeah, right, that didn't work this time. Kim. These sofa talks have just spread all over the place. It's amazing. And I also met some incredible speakers, like this woman that I'm going to invite for this show as well. Her name is Lou Rosling. I think she's the most experienced speaker in Sweden. She spoke in front of more than 2 million people in Sweden. Wow. Oh my God, she's 77, but she is like a teenage, sparkling, incredible woman. Wonderful. And apparently we had met before. I'm so sorry, I didn't even know she existed. And so it's this big like family reunion. And I said, this is the best family reunion ever. And I don't want to hear any more whimpering about, oh, I'm the only one and nobody understands. I said, here you are. This is your new family, so this is the best family meeting ever. And then everything was going great. And then the police came in one big van with, 6-8 people inside. We had a security guard outside who was there to protect us from the police. And
wow.
And no,
Good luck with that.
That is it. It's not. That's the problem we have. There's an organization called Expo that is a real pain in the butt. George Soros sponsored, and they're really there just to shut down everything, like myself. Anyway, so they came because they said some old lady had called them and said there's too many cars in the parking lot. Yeah, right. I don't think so. So they were there, and they looked like, okay, are we having a problem here, or how are we going to deal with these guys? And the security guard, who is a former police officer or used to work with them, he went out there very calmly, spoke to them. And then Mikael, that has been on the show, and his beautiful partner, Joanna, came out, and she was like in a long dress. She looks like a fairy butterfly, incredible, beautiful, beautiful woman. She came out, and the police just lost it. He was like, all kind of aggressive, just ran off him. And so he said, so is this some kind of, what is it? And I said, it's like a family reunion, big party, big family. They come from Norway, Denmark, Sweden. Okay. So he said, so can I write that it's like a wedding? If you want to. Anyway, so he was fine with that. He wrote a wedding in the report, and then he took off. And then they came back 2 more times, but they left very peacefully every time. And other times, like when I was in Holland, the police came. But then when I was giving the talk, especially about force like that, is the one that really irritates them. There was a digital disturbance that destroyed all the audio recordings, even though we had multiple recording systems. Wow. But this time, nothing. So wonderful. And we ended the evening with the ABBA song, The Winner Takes It All. And the whole audience was jumping around, dancing, singing along, The Winner Takes It All. Oh, my God. I couldn't sleep, I was on such a buzz. And it was like, I gave up on Sweden many years ago because this nation used to be, it was like the spine, the quality of gel, and personalities like yogurt, and no stamina whatsoever, except the only thing that can piss a Swede off is if somebody is down in the laundry room not cleaning the filter. That pisses a Swede off, I tell you. But it's always anonymous. But here, and so over the years, I spent so many years knocking my head up against walls, So in the end, I thought, okay, let's do it like in the music business, because the Swedish record companies didn't dare to take chances in the old days. So artists had to go abroad, be discovered abroad, and then the Swedes would then import them into Sweden. And so I thought years ago, okay, I'm giving up. 30 years of trying is enough. I'm leaving. So I left, and for me now to come back and be welcomed like this, oh my God. So I'm still in the state of wonder and amazing shock, Well, and it was good. Beautiful. But the thing was, we were going to call Cody, and and people wanted so much to speak directly to Cody, and I was like, it was like the dessert. And then the police said, well, you cannot go over that. We have to respect the time. So I couldn't call him.
Ole, let me ask you a quick question here. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm looking on Wikipedia here about Sappo, and it says it was created in 1989. That seems remarkably new. What existed like this before that when you were living in Sweden? Was there some sort of similar agency?
That sounds like absolute lies. I've never seen that. Säpo was there long before that. I don't know. I have no. That's so not true. If that is true, then I don't know. No, 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 no.
But that's
That
pretty
is not true.
close in time to when
Yeah,
Olaf Palme
86.
was assassinated.
Yeah, but the guy that was in charge of the murder investigation used to be the chief of Säpo, Hans Holmér. So and that was in 86. So they say it was formed 89. Maybe it's something, maybe they changed the name slightly or something like that.
Yeah.
But I've never seen that. So
Yeah,
I really think that is not correct.
And people in our chat are talking about how Sweden is the closest to becoming the first cashless society. But we're going to go into more detail on all of this when we continue the sponsor-exclusive segment on patreon.com/lightonconspiracies, subscribestar.com/lightonconspiracies, and Patreon and subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth. I think I told you guys that I'm being sued by the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, and what I've done to try to defend myself is that I've placed on Crowdsource the Truth some new sponsorship opportunities, as well as an easy way for everybody to see all of our live streams. We're streaming right now on crowdsourcethetruth.com. That's new, and people can check out the Counter Lawfare Fund at crowdsourcethetruth.com. But I think a lot of people want to hear more about what's going on in Sweden, Ole. They never had a lockdown, and Sweden is sort of under the microscope of the world with regard to coronavirus.
Yeah, no, Sweden is like a poster. It's a poster country that is being used in marketing. I would say the New World Order marketing campaign. They need a poster child, and I would strongly suggest that Sweden is it, because just like I said, when you look at Swedes, they have not been at war for the last 200 years or something like that, maybe 3, and they have been neutral officially, even though they joined NATO officially in 1954, but they've always been playing sort of on the winner's side of the game. They haven't stood up, taking any risks and that has put people in sort of like also under the control of Big Brother. We trust Big Brother. Big Brother, the government will take care of us. So Sweden is a perfect country to test out new stuff, because the Swedes will not stand up and say anything except for the laundry room. If that was the case, you would have a revolution if people were messing up in the laundry room. But when it comes to things like this, then it's a totally different one. So also because Sweden has a very good reputation in the world, so they push these things on them. It was like Sweden was the first country with microchip passports. They were the first. It is more or less cashless. I mean, banks don't deal with cash anymore. If you come with cash and try to get on the bus, sorry, no way. You need an app and a boop and a swish and all of these kind of digital things. You have to pay the bank for them to take your cash money.
Wow.
It's bizarre. It is bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. I've even seen beggars in the street with card readers. It's like,
wow. I've seen that in New York too. Yeah.
It's
credit card readers.
And no, it's just very, very strange. So what happened here with Corona, that one, right away we saw that there was a different agenda being played out. And this different agenda has been playing out for the last year or 2 years, that is different from the rest of the world. You see the New World Order agenda being played out, and then you got Sweden. Different. Yeah. You got all of this thing, and then boom. So what's actually going on in Sweden? Sweden is different because it's officially neutral, just like Switzerland. It is also in a very strategic position against Russia, towards Russia. And so what's actually going on? So when Corona happened, and Swedes are extremely security minded, that's why Volvo is very famous for being the most secure car in the world. The security thing, you have to have both a belt and a helmet when you drive a car, more or less. It's like very security minded. And then Corona happens and they do the exact opposite thing. And it's sort of like, whoa, what? So what I and Johnny Cash, we were talking about this, and we saw right after this thing started in Wuhan in China, where the Chinese started to take on, at least it was filmed in the media, in mainstream media where they were trying to disinfect cash money. They were spraying the bills like this.
Yeah.
And then, of course, after a few 100,000 bills, you get very tired of doing it. So what are you going to do? And in comes cashless society. So we were saying, oh my God, they're going to use Sweden as a test country and once again say, oh, look at Sweden.
Right.
So few, the mortality rate so low, even though they're not shutting down, there's no lockdown. What's going on? What's different? What is different with Sweden? And so Johnny and I was just waiting for it. Let's wait and see what happened. And then CNN came, BBC, the Swedish wonder, the Swedish this, the miracle of Sweden. So what was the only thing that was different? Cashless. So that was how they're pushing the cashless agenda on other countries, saying, but look at Sweden.
Wow.
And then now they turn it around. So now suddenly, officially, the numbers in Sweden are skyrocketing. So now they're trying to play Sweden in a different way. Yeah, but it's just BS, all of it.
Yeah, it seems to change from week to week. I mean, last week, CNN, the chronically lying news network, says Sweden now has one of Europe's lowest COVID-19 death rates. Funny that it's Scandinavia and not Europe. So I guess that's an interesting wrinkle there. But I definitely want to get to Cody and the fires, and of course we want to talk about 9/11. Real quickly, one last thing on Sweden cashless. One of our regular viewers is asking, how do people in Sweden pay for hookers and drugs? I'm not sure if that's a serious question, but I presume that criminals and underground, and there is still some acceptance of cash, right? Johnny Cash uses cash.
Yeah. But it's like many. I'm sorry, I'm not aware of hookers, at least not officially. No, I'm not. Right. I wouldn't dare. But so I don't know. I would not be surprised if it's they swish it. There's like this app on the phone when you swish
cryptocurrency.
Or cryptocurrency. I don't know if that's in the hooker, the red light districts. I don't know. But I'm sure that this app, it's called Swish. And you can transfer money digitally, and I'm pretty sure that the hookers would use that.
Is it legal in Sweden, like Amsterdam? Because then maybe they could use official payments. I mean, this is a road we don't need to go down. I think Tom was joking.
Sorry.
But why don't we talk about the fires in Colorado? And we only have a few minutes left until we make our way over to Patreon and Subscribestar, where we want to focus on 9/11. But there's a lot going on in Sweden, and we want to keep our eyes on that. Cody, the fires, we've been hearing all about it. A lot of reports saying that there's evidence of arson. What are you seeing there in Colorado?
Well, they're censoring Facebook tweets and Twitter feeds of people who have been reporting seeing, like in Oregon. I sent you a link to that video of the woman. Her husband was a firefighter on a bulldozer. And he came down to check their houses in the area because there's been looters. People evacuate in fire zones, and then looters come in with gas masks on. And this guy came to check his house and saw two men out in a field with the big hay bales, the big round bales, and he eyewitnessed them with gas masks on trying to light fires. And there's been I've been getting a whole series of reports, and then a lot of them are being banned on Facebook, so people are copying them on flash drives and then posting them on their websites and stuff. And I got a whole compilation of different things. You can't take all of this for truth. Some of it may not be real, but what we look for is convergence of intelligence and try to converge and find points of convergence. But it appears preliminarily that there is a concerted anarchist network of people working together in Washington, California, and here in Colorado. So we're investigating that right now. But a lot of people can Google up the fires. There's a lot going on. I want to hear more about Ole stuff. So we can get to all that some other time.
Sure. Well, and we want to talk about 9/11. Obviously, we've just passed 19 years since the event. There's still a lot of unanswered questions. A lot of people remain convinced of a number of things that seem totally implausible to me. Holograms hitting the World Trade Center, The capture of 5 dancing Israelis indicates that Israel planned and executed the whole entire thing. I mean, my personal view is that this was a globalist operation that involved individuals from multiple countries. Yes, Israel. Yes, the United States. Yes, Saudi Arabia. Probably many other countries. It's one of these things that's like a mystery wrapped in a riddle, twisted around an enigma, and there are so many red herrings and so many. I mean, in my mind, Cody, answer this one question for us, because so many people love to bring up the dancing Israelis as what they consider proof that, quote, Israel did 9/11. I find these things incredibly narrow and unlikely. What is the likelihood, in your estimation, Cody, that for a sophisticated operation such as this, the perpetrators might select a group such as 5 dopes who would dance around in New Jersey after taking a photograph of this thing and then get arrested? It almost seems like a deliberate action intended to distract us away from the serious players in the matter. What can you say about that?
Well, you can pay anybody to dance around and say anything. It can be strictly theater. It can be used to obfuscate and add another element of uncertainty to something. But if these people were involved in any way in the real operation, they certainly wouldn't be putting out, their faces and dancing and have any, if Israel really was behind all this, the Mossad and all of them wouldn't even tolerate that kind of stuff. I mean, it would be wiped off the internet, or, it just wouldn't show up at all. So to me, dancing like that's just, it's like smoke for a smoke screen. I mean, you can make up any kind of conspiracy theory you want about stuff like that. But the real operators want to remain hidden. They want to remain quiet, and they want to direct any investigations away from themselves towards anything else but themselves.
Yeah. And certainly, Israel benefited from the added security, or whatever we want to call the disaster that the United States has created in the Middle East. Israel wants the United States to go to war with their enemies. There's been a lot of history there. But, of course, the United States was pivotally involved in the creation of Israel after World War II. In my view, it just seems like another one of these things that's set up where they can polarize the opposing sides and cause anybody who is likely to dislike Israel to blame Israel, anybody who's likely to dislike Saudi Arabia to blame Saudi Arabia. And as you said, Cody, while we're all sitting here pointing fingers at one particular culprit or the other, the serious masterminds of this thing have not been brought to justice. Nobody has.
Right. And that's their end goal in any type of false flag or black operation, is that the real principals and the real people involved escape scrutiny, they escape justice, and it's happened over and over and over again through history.
And here we are again with yet another major world-changing event, this coronavirus outbreak that's already had such a huge impact on each of our lives. I mean, here we are, 6-7 months into this thing, and it's become a blur. We've been talking about it since day one, Ole, but yet it's one of those things where when it first starts, it's sort of like, okay, well, if we can't get this over in a week or two, it's going to have some impact. I see little children in the park, 4 or 5, with the masks on, and I feel like if you're that young and something is imposed on you for 6 months as such a serious thing that you can't go outside or you're going to get sick and people are dying, that is going to lock into the mind of a little kid this sense of fear. That I was looking at this kid in the park the other day and I was thinking to myself, when that kid is 30, are they going to be afraid to be around people who don't have masks on?
It's really, really bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, it has effects on such a deep level in so many people.
I agree. It's a very troubling situation. So we're going to get into all this and more in just about 5 minutes when we continue with the sponsor-exclusive segment on Patreon.com and Subscribestar.com/lightonconspiracies, and Patreon and Subscribestar for Crowdsource the Truth. I definitely want to remind people to visit Ole's website, lightonconspiracies.com. You can keep up with what Ole and Kim are doing. You can purchase Cody's book, Choosing the Light, where he reveals the dark secrets of the Oklahoma City bombing. You've also got all of Ole's books in there, and the site is updated basically every day, isn't it, Ole? You've got a ton of stuff on here.
Yeah, it's a minimum of 3 new articles per day and videos. So it's that you can be on that site for, I think, a year without
seeing
having
everything.
to leave.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. So we'll be back in just a couple minutes. We'll see everybody over there on Patreon and Subscribestar. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in just a few minutes.